Good morning and welcome to another episode on the RetroBrown channel. Today we are doing a solo run in Gen 2 with the Dark Flying type Murkrow. Interesting because this is a Pokemon that's kind of got more popular in recent years, especially with Gen 9, and Murkrow was just everywhere in VGC, so going back to Gen 2 and seeing how it actually performs, yeah, it's actually going to be kind of interesting. It's got a decent base stat, in all honesty. 405 is nothing to shout at, but it's not too great at the same time. It's kind of middle of the road sort of thing. It's decent. And we don't start off with too bad of a, well, Peck is a decent move in Gen 2 in all honesty. Like, there's a lot of grass types, a lot of fighting type Pokemon. So starting off with Peck, with it being a stab move as well, I'm quite happy with that. But we don't get another move till level 11 with Pursuit. That means that the first gym, with it being a flying type gym, is honestly going to be kind of difficult. And we're going to go with swapping out Cyndaquil for Murkrow. That means that we're going to have a fight against Feraligatr at some point in this run, which will be the hardest matchup because we don't get any super effective moves against it. We're just going to call Murkrow the Don because, to be fair, it's inspired by Mafia members. And let's move on to the very first rival fight. So we'll see how we actually do against the Totodile. Peck is our only move, and it does over half damage, and that's because we have a whopping 85 base stat attack. Pretty damn good, and we take it down with 2 hits, and that brings us on to naming our rival for today. So our rival for today is going to be Nirity, who was one of my subscribers over the last few months. Thank you for joining the channel, and I hope you enjoy this video. That brings us on to talking about the very first gym. It's a flying type gym, and of course, with the flying type gym, that also means that we have to go against Birdkeeper Abe, who, you know, is actually quite a tough trainer right at the start. But with Peck on our moveset, we've got the stab bonus on that, we're a level below it as well, and our whopping attack stat, we actually win against Birdkeeper Abe first time. Let's bring this on to Falconer, the flying type master apparently, and his Pidgey goes down with no problem. That brings out the Pidgeotto, and we've got a decent amount of HP. We get taken down to 9 HP and then 1. We hang on with 1 HP, learn Pursuit, and get the first time win on the Falconer's gym. That's a pretty good start to the video, really, isn't it? And one of the other things we get from Falconer, we get the TM for Mud Slap, which is good because we've got a lot of Rock-type Pokemon coming up in Union Cave, and with Peck, we would really struggle at this point in the game. We do have Pursuit, which would help us through, but yeah, at the same point, I'd rather have Mud Slap at this point in the game. That accuracy drop is definitely going to be quite helpful. Don is actually doing pretty damn well in this early game. We are speeding through this quite a lot. Let's see how we do against the Rocket in Azalea Town. His level 14 Coffin has got pretty decent bulk to it, but 4 Pecks are more than enough to take it down. That brings us on to our first chance against the Azalea rival. And this could go very, very well, or it could go very, very south very quickly. That all comes down to whether we get confused or not. So, in this battle, the Zubat confuses us, and we lose too much HP when we come against the Croconaw. Its Water Gun is doing around about 11 to 12 damage, and it just keeps outplaying us. I'll try this again. We have now got Haze on our moveset, which it gets rid of any stat changes. It doesn't get rid of Paralysis, which is kind of annoying, but hey, what can you do? So in this fight, we do get paralyzed, which is a big boon on our part, and we go into the Croconaw with a bit more HP, but even then, it gets a critical hit, 2 critical hits in a row. So it made sense to go and level up against the Bug-type trainers in the gym. I'm already level 18 by this point, which means that we've kind of I've got up too many more levels than I was really anticipating for this point in the game, but at level 19 we can take out the Ghastly in 1. Zubat will take 2 hits even though we do get confused, but we're on 59 HP going into the Croconaw, which gives us more than enough to work with. We are confused again and hit ourselves in confusion, meaning we take another loss. So I'm going to go against Bugsy and see if we can recuperate back some time. We're now going into this at level 20, our first attempt against Bugsy. And we take down his first 2 Pokemon very, very comfortably. The Cypher goes down to 2 Pecks, and Peck is just becoming our MVP move for the entirety of this first half of the game. We throw Fury Cutter into the Pokemon map because we can't use it, and then we try one more time against Nirity. So this is what, attempt number 3 or 4? I can't believe that the Azalea Town rival is giving me this much of a problem as a level 21 Pokemon. But this time we managed to get through level 22 and move on to the next part of the game, where we're going to have a bit of a challenge against Whitney. Reason why this is a hard fight for Murkrow is the fact that the Miltank has Rollout, which is a rock type move. And if you cannot get enough accuracy drops up, yeah, we're just going to lose pretty quickly. So we're going to have to go level up. We come back to this fight with Return at level 25, and only with Return, and a very, very lucky 1 HP left after 3 stomps, we take the win at level 25. Much, much higher than I was ever anticipating this to be. And this is why the very low defense stats that we have is becoming a real problem. We've got great attack, speed, and special attack, but our defenses are just completely useless. Going into the Morty fight, we now have Nightshade on our moveset, which does set damage depending on whatever your level is. So at this point we're doing 30 bits of damage every single attack. And then we get to the final Haunter and he just curses himself out of the fight, giving us the win. I'm quite happy with that, considering we managed to get a first time win against Morty. Sometimes he gives me a few run in my money. We pick up Surf and we can head on to Olivine City, where of course we need to go to the lighthouse and we need to go and talk to Jasmine here, meaning we can actually unlock Cyanwood and the gym later on for Jasmine. We can pick up the rare candy on the next floor down, and then we can start surfing all the way over to Cyanwood. I'm quite confident about the Cyanwood fight, considering it's a fighting type gym and we do have Peck on our moveset. Although, as we're getting into the mid game here, Peck is starting to lose its potency in terms of our physical attack. We can't even take out Goldeen in one hit, even though we're 13 levels above it. So even with the stab bonus and the super effectiveness on it, I'm not 100% sure we're going to do all too well in this gym, but we'll soon find out. Always make sure you've got super repels on you, because otherwise you're just going to run into so many tentacles when you're on the way to Cyanwood. But either way, let's go against the Dojo Brothers, and we'll see how we do here. We take out the Hitmonlee in one Peck, and Peck is really paying dividends here. We've managed to only just two-shot the Hitmonchan, and then the rest of the gym trainers are just falling to the Don. The Don is just tearing through this gym, even by getting hit by a rock slide. We just power through when we beat every single gym trainer without having to go back to the Pokemon Center to heal. Every trainer in this gym is mandatory, but that's not a problem really. We can take out a Primeape in one Peck. So, now we've beaten all the trainers. How are we going to do against Chuck, who we actually have a type advantage for? First up is the Primeape, and it's going to be 2 shots of Peck to take it down. I think as long as we don't get hit by Dynamic Punch, which of course we do. This is the RetroBrown channel and we hit ourselves in confusion. That just perfectly illustrates how most of my runs go with my luck. I am not the luckiest Pokemon YouTuber out there. And yeah, we lose a second time to Dynamic Punch. Dynamic Punch has got 50% accuracy, and yet it still seems to hit us every single time. This time we get a high roll on Peck against the Primeape. We down to 17 HP again. We managed to power through the confusion to get the win on the 3rd try against a gym leader that we really should be beating first time, in all honesty. We probably would have beaten first time if we'd had HMO2, which we only get after this gym. This gives us a much more powerful stab flying move and a way to avoid some attacks in future battles. We can finally get rid of Peck, it's outlived its usefulness, and we can fly back over to Olivine City. We can go back up to the lighthouse, and we can throw that secret potion in the Ampharos' face. I really hate that you have to go all the way back up here just to do this, but I'm going to show you now why we shouldn't go against Jasmine right now. One Thunderbolt from a level 30 Magnemite is enough to take us out. So we go take our anger out on the red Gyarados, which we can 2-shot with the Fly. And we can open up the rest of this game over. At this point, we need to go and do the Rocket side quest. We need to beat Price, because if we're going against Price, we actually get a great move that we can learn, and that'll actually be very helpful for a lot of fights later on in this run. And that move is Icy Wind TM16. Yes, it's only got 55% power and 95% accuracy, but we have got decent special attack which is comparable to our attack. Meaning, we can use special moves or physical moves, and either one is going to do a lot of damage. It's not really going to be, right, we're a completely physical Pokemon, we've got more variation to work with. The executives go down very, very quickly, and we are just creeping up to level 40 at the end of the Rocket Side Quest. But once we've done this, we can go against Price and try and get this TM. So, he has a Seal to start off with, which doesn't really do much damage, but Icy Wind also has the added bonus of reducing speed, which isn't great, but we do have a great speed stat that we can work with. The Piloswine is the worst contender here because it has Blizzard on its moveset. Very unfair. So we need to go and level up a bit, because we had no chance after a few attempts against Price, which is weird to say considering how easy Price usually is. I'm really annoyed that we lost against Price so many times, but yeah, we had to go and level up. And there's a few trainers to the south of Goldenrod if you surf, where you can get a decent amount of experience. You can also get a rare candy off one of the trees. This is one of the first places I go if I need to go and get some if I need to go and get some experience, really. The Shelder on the final trainer is not really too much of a problem, but the Cloyster that comes out has got a lot more defense than normal, but we managed to get a crucial critical hit on the first hit, meaning we've got some more levels up, we can go against Price again. And it took us all the way up into the mid-40s before we even had a chance to beat Price, because Blizzard was just so powerful. Aurora Beam from the Dugong did so much damage. Yeah, we just didn't really have much of a chance. So what level did we beat Price at? Well, for the first time in quite a long time, I had to be mid-level 40s to actually beat Price, which is weird considering he's only got one Pokemon above level 30. But we do not have the type advantage, his moves hit hard, and thankfully we only won this one because he went for Fury Attack instead of Blizzard. If he'd gone for Blizzard, we'd have lost this fight and probably had to have leveled up a bit more. But now we've beaten him, we can finally go against Jasmine again. We've actually got a chance to beat her this time. So, annoyingly, Thunderbolt still is a one-hit KO with a critical, and we do get paralysed. So essentially how we need to get through this fight, we need to make sure we don't get paralysed. Feint Attack can take him out in one on a high roll, but we need to make sure we don't get paralysed, don't get confused, and then finally when we get through to the Steelix, we just need to use Nightshade to try and take it down. And that was the first time I ever got to the Steelix, and we managed to take it out first time. So yeah, it's just those Magnomites that are a bit, just an absolute problem for this Pokemon. This brings us on to finishing off the Rocket Side Quest. So the Rocket Side Quest, the Rocket Executive with the 6 Pokemon, unnecessarily has a large team, all comprised of Coughing and 1 Wheezing. It just wastes some time for us, but it's also a great chance to get some levels up. We are nearing level 15, we've not even gone against the Goldenrod rival. So, once we've beaten him, very easy fight, we can go against the rival in the Underground. Now, this fight can again go one of two ways. Because we've got so low defenses, if we get one status infliction upon us, like a Confusion, this can completely ruin our attempt against the rival. Nerty here has honestly given me such a problem on this entire run, and it takes a couple of tries before we can actually power our way through. We do, like, the Confusion works in our favour, and Magnemite, yeah, the Magnemites, I hate that they got the Steel type in Gen 2. I genuinely hate that Magnemites have got the Steel type, because in Gen 2 there are so little Fire types, moves to work with. Yeah, I really don't like Magnemite in Gen 2. We managed to beat Nerty, and that brings us on to where I went next. See, normally after here, you would go back up to the Radio Tower, and you would go and finish off the Rocket Side Quest. I don't know what I was doing here when I was playing this run, but I completely forgot that I hadn't done this point yet, and I went straight over to Mahogany Town to go over to Blackthorn City and beat Claire. So, as you'll see, we will get all the way through the Icy Path before even realising that we have not completed this side path. We got all the way up to the gym, and I've never seen this before. There's a guy that stands in front of the gym, who basically tells you unless you've done the Rocket side quest, you cannot go against the 8th gym, which is kind of annoying because in a little way, if there was a way to skip it, I honestly would skip this portion of the game. So once we go back to Goldenrod, we completely decimate Archer, and then we will go back over to Blackthorn and see how we do against Claire. We are now level 53, and we've not even beaten Claire. There's not many runs I've had to do in Gen 2 where I've had to be over level 50 at this point. But the amount of time that we lost with Jasmine and Price is just ridiculous. The amount of attempts it took, the amount of levels we need to get up, yeah. This turned out to be a great start to a run, and then as we got into the mid to the late game now, we started to really, really struggle. And I feel like that comes down to our defensive stats. We don't have the greatest HP, but it's mediocre at best. But 42 defense and 42 special defense, yeah, unless you can hit hard and hit fast, you could pretty much a glass cannon. There is a lot out there that will just destroy you, and we have quite a few weaknesses, really. Once we've beaten Claire, we pick up Dragon Breath. We pick up the Dragon Fang. Again, another pointless sidetrack in this entire game. We can then move on to Victory Road. So Victory Road, you can't pick up Earthquake. We're a bird. But we do have a decent moveset to go against Nerity for the final fight with him. Return is a powerful move that we have used for this entire run. Feint Attack's got the stab on it. And annoyingly, we get paralysed again by the Magneton. Return is a one-shot on most of his other Pokemon. And we get down to 52 HP before the Kadabra comes out. Goes down to a Feint Attack, sorry. And finally Haunter again. He uses Mean Look, but what he doesn't realise is you're stuck here with me. We win against Nerty and we move on to the Pokemon League. First up is going to be our easiest matchup. We have the Psychic type trainer, Will. And it's strange to go against Will with such a good type advantage. Dark type, I feel like even though it was introduced in this generation, same with Steel, they really should have put more Dark type Pokemon in, because the majority of these Dark type Pokemon you don't get till maybe the late game. Umbreon, yeah, you can get it as soon as you get an Eevee. Houndour is locked in Kanto. Murkrow, Mischievous is a ghost type Pokemon, but either way, a lot of these Pokemon are locked to the late game, which is really annoying because they're actually really, really good. So, we beat Will with not a problem. We move on to Koga. Now, Koga will be annoying if we get poisoned, which, knowing our luck, yeah, we get poisoned. Of course we get poisoned, and it's badly poisoned as well. We got 2 Pokemon left, and as long as we can beat this Crobat in one, uses a full restore. Yeah, we're going to lose this fight unless we can get a critical hit on this Venomoth, which we don't need because we actually take it out in one. Okay, that's a first time victory against Koga as well. That brings us on to Bruno. Now, if we were a pure Dark type Pokemon, this would be a hard fight, but we have got that Flying Stab as well, meaning we've got a good chance of doing this very, very easily. We're not going to take any super effective damage because Fighting type is super effective against Dark. We're going to pretty comfortably sweep through the majority of his team. Even the Machamp with its Cross Chop, and it's got Rock Slide as well, which, good thing we used Fly because otherwise we would have died to that. We take his entire team out with not much problem whatsoever, and I can't believe the Elite Four is so easy compared to the rest of the game. This brings us on to Karen, the Dark-type trainer, and we're going to prove why we're the superior Dark-type trainer here. Her Murkrow goes down to 1 return. We are level 60 at this point, and that's disgustingly high for the last few runs that we have done, where we've been early 50s, mid 50s. Yeah, 60 is pretty high really, but we've accumulated so many levels because of the rest of the game where we've had to do that. Her Gengar goes down to a Feint Attack, and we take the win. We've got through every single Elite Four member without taking a loss. This brings us on to the champion, the Flying type Master, Lance. So, Return is not going to one-shot Gyarados, but we move up to level 61, and first Dragonite comes out. We have Icy Wind, which is quad effective on Dragonites, meaning we can take one-hit KOs on each of them. Aerodactyl is next, and we are going to continue with Icy Wind. Its speed drops, and it misses its Rock Slide. We are doing very, very well here. And are we going to get a first-time victory, full Elite Four, first-time win? Ooh, only just. If that Hyper Beam had connected, we would have lost. And we next get a high roll, meaning the Don has become the Don of Johto, the ultimate champion in the Johto region. So now we've got to this point in the game. What time did we beat the Elite Four in? At level 62, Murkrow finished the game in 4 hours and 50 in-game minutes. And considering how many times we've had to backtrack, that's alright. That's pretty alright, in all honesty. I'm quite happy with that time, considering how many times we had to track back, the amount of times we had to go and level up for certain challenges. It's not a bad time. I feel like we probably could have done a lot better, but yeah, I only do these runs once. So now we've beaten Johto. How is Murkrow going to contend against the Kanto gym leaders? Well, for one, we know most of the gym leaders, 7 out of the 8, are really, really easy. Let's skip ahead and go all the way to Blue. Blue's got a varied team, which is why I always show this fight. I like this fight. It's because of the variety of Pokemon he's got. You can't just spam one move to get through the entire fight. And the first Pokemon up, the Pidgeot, really walls us a bit. His Rhydon goes down, not much problem with Icy Wind, but the Gyarados comes out and Hyper Beams us in. Considering our low defense stat, yeah, I'm not too surprised that took a one-hit KO. Basically, what we need is a bit better luck against that Pidgeot to have more HP to work with. We know Icy Wind will take down the Rhydon in one, but that Gyarados is a bit of a problem if it uses Hyper Beam. It goes for Rain Dance this time, meaning the Arcanine that comes out next is massively nerfed, and he will only go for Extreme Speed. That brings us on to the last two Pokemon. First up being Executor. Feint Attack will do super effective damage and it's a one-shot kill. Last up is Alakazam, and Feint Attack again gives us the win. Level 73, again, not too bad. Not too bad. That brings us on to the final fight though. How good is Murkrow against Red? Let's see how we do. We can take out the Pikachu in one return. That's a decent attack. Attract will make sure that Blastoise does not hit us or barely goes for it, because it has Blizzard, which is super effective. As long as we can stop it from attacking, we can chip away at it, take it down. Next up is the Snorlax. We're going to use Attract again and then go for the returns. Pretty much this is the only strategy that I have really to work with. I could use Rest, but I actually think we can win with this strategy. We just need to get the right luck. So, Charizard is next. Again, it's Infatuated. We're going to fly up high to make sure it doesn't hit us with Flamethrower, and then the Infatuation can work in our favour. And we actually managed to take down the Charizard as well. I've not used any stat boosting moves to this point. Next up is the Venusaur, who gets a Solar Beam in, and we're on 4 HP. Bring us into the final Espeon. If we can outspeed... Feint Attack just doesn't do enough. So if we can get to that Espeon with more HP to work with, we can do this at level 81. So, we're going to put Rest on our moveset because Feint Attack just wasn't really doing too much. And Return gets us the win against the Blastoise. The Rest, Return, Attract, Fly. I mean, we're locked into Fly because it's a HM move. We're looking alright. We can recover a HP this time. Return does a lot of damage, considering we're not stat boosting whatsoever here. And even Snorlax goes down to 3 hits. Attract is just a great move, really. Once we can rest up, we can then use Return. Flamethrower, it's just half our damage, so we just need to make sure we rest up. It's Infatuated, once we're out of the sleep, we can then chip away at it to take it down. That brings us to Venusaur with full HP, and I'm just going to go straight for Fly. It goes for Sunny Day, hits us with Solar Beam, but it's not a lot of HP taken off. We've got a lot to work with when it comes to this Espeon, and we have the type advantage. 2 returns, takes the win. At level 81, Murkrow has beaten Red. You know what? That's a very fun Pokemon to do a solo run with. Very, very fun. Let's see what time we finished on. So we finished at level 81 with Return, Rest, Attract, and Fly. It's a pretty decent moveset. We finished at 6 hours and 13 minutes. So considering so it's about an hour and 20 in-game minutes just to get past like Kanto and beat Red. That's pretty good. now it's the point in the video where we start looking at what we're going to go against next. First up on the wheel is Ampharos. I have not done anything of this Pokemon line yet, and I actually really enjoy the Ampharos line. Second up is Gramble. We have already done a Snubble run, so hopefully it would be very, very quick comparably. And last up is Fluffy. The pre-evolution to Ampharos. You know what? I think we'll have to go with the pre-evo just to... It will give us a good mark of what we can do for when it comes to Ampharos, I guess. If you got to this point in the video, you legends, please like and subscribe and share. And we will see you next week with another video. Take care.